Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Jane by Design. So guys, today's tutorial I'll be learning I'll be showing us how to make a 3-tiered sleeve. If you're new here, you're welcome. On this channel I upload pattern drafting and sewing tutorial and DIY sometimes. Please subscribe to my channel. If you stumbled on the channel for the first time, please subscribe and recommend my channel to your friends. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you'll be needing is your basic sleeve pattern. I have that on my channel. I've done a video series of different sleeve pattern on how to draft a basic sleeve pattern, and I'll be leaving the link on the description box. And also with me I have 2 different fabric, and the reason being that the fabric on stripes will not be enough for the sleeves, so that is why I'll be combining it with the plain lace fabric. So once you've gotten your basic sleeve pattern, that's all you'll be needing, and also to determine the length that you want your sleeve to stop at. Now in this case I want my sleeve to stop at 15, because by the time you put the layers it's kind of going to increase the length of the sleeve. So I'll be working with 15 inches for the length of my sleeve. So once you've gotten your sleeve pattern, you need to open it up so that you can draw out the distance between each steps. So first, what I will do after opening up my sleeve here is to go ahead and measure the distance from one tier to the other, and I'm going to be starting from the hemline of my sleeve. So at that point where I just draw a line, I'm going to take my tape and place it upward, and I'm going to mark a point at 5 inches. Okay, so I'll just place a mark there, and I will draw a vertical line across the sleeve, and that will be where our second step would be. And then from that point we're going to go up again by another 5 inches, and we'll mark a point at where 5 inches is on the sleeve, and we're going to also go ahead and mark a line across the sleeve. So you can see I have 3 lines on my sleeve. I have the first line, the second line, and the third line, and these lines you will also need to represent them on your fabric. So I'll just go ahead and indicate what each part is. I have the front and I have the back. Now we've gotten these markings on our pattern, we'll just have to transfer it on the main fabric. So for the main sleeve body, I'll be using the lace fabric for it. And so what you need to do in this case, since you already have your sleeve drafted, you don't need to do any calculations or all of that. Just fold your sleeve into 2, get the required amount of fabric. Basically you just need the width of your armhole circumference, and then you add your sewing allowance to it. Let's say 1 inch sewing allowance to it for the width of your fabric. So that's what I have here. I folded it into 2 and I folded it into 2 again. Now you place your pattern on top of your fabric, and you just go ahead and cut out, and that's it. So after cutting out, this is what the sleeve is. I'm going to be opening this up, and we are going to be representing all those lines we have on our pattern on our sleeve, so on our fabric. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw all the lines now. I hope you guys can see it. I'll go and draw the lines now, and after drawing the lines, here it's what the lines on the sleeve looks like. So now we are going to move on to the tiers on the sleeve, and this is the fabric I'll be using to make the tiers. I'm going to be using this fabric for the first step and the third step. Now to get the tier for the first step, you take your tape and you measure the line, that first line on your sleeve, and what the value is. In this situation my own is 15 inches, and I'm going to be dividing it by half of a circle. The equation for half of a circle is 3.142. So by the time I divide 15 inches by 3.142. I have 4.7 inch. So this is the fabric I'll be working with. I've folded it into two, and I'm going to fold it the way we fold a half circle. So please, when you fold, ensure that the covered part of this fabric is touching the other edge of the open edge. Okay, so you have one open edge and one folded edge. That way when you cut out, you won't have two separate pieces as your circle. So this is what we have here. I have my fabric folded into two, and next I'm going to fold it over in a triangular shape to create that half circle shape. This is how you fold for a half circle. So now I'm going to cut my fabric into a manageable size now, and I will be using the length of 11 inches. So all together on this fabric I have 11 inches. The length is 5 inches and my radius is 4.7. So ensure that when you cut out, your first step is covering the second one, so that the stitch on the underneath it will not show. Okay, for the second step, so ensure that each steps overlap each other so that it will not be visible. The stitch line will not be visible on the second and the third one. So here I have my fabric, and now we're going to mark the radius. So I'm going to be taking out, remember I said the radius is 4.7, but I'm going to be making use of 4, because if you cut on 4.7 directly, at the end of the day you discover that your circle is longer than the actual mark you have on your fabric. Okay, actual length you have on your fabric. So I'm going to go by 4 inches for the radius. So from the triangular point, I'm going to mark the radius, which is 4 inches, and also I'm going to mark out the length of my fabric. So for this one I am working with the length of 11 inches. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and mark 11 inches from the top to where 11 inch is on my fabric, and I'm going to rotate it all across the fabric so that we can create that cone shape on our fabric. Now I've gotten the length of my fabric, of my circle. Now we are going to also get the radius. I said I'll be using 4 inch for my radius. So here I've gone ahead to mark my radius, and the second line is for the length. So I'll just go ahead and cut out now. Okay, so note that if you're going to be adding your sewing allowance to it, you can go ahead and add half an inch or 1 inch on it, but in this case I'm going to be weaving the lower part, so I don't really need a sewing allowance to it. So I've cut out the length, and I've also cut out the radius, and now we're going to go ahead and open this up so that you see what sleeve looks like, the first sleeve looks like. You can see what the first step looks like, beautiful and clean, right? Yes, so this is what we're going to do for the second and for the third step. So for the second one as well, all you need to do also is to mark the length of the second line, and then you take your fabric like we did for the first one, you fold it over, you cut it out, you mark out the length of your circle, and then you mark the radius as well, and you cut it out. So this is what we'll do for the first, second, and the third. All right guys, so now I've gotten all of my tiers. I have the first, second, and the third. So I'm just going to place it on the line so that you see what it looks like. Now when you place on the line, you're going to stitch it on top of your sleeve. So you place each step on each line that you've marked on your sleeve. So we place the first one, and place the second one, and you also place the third one. Mind you are going to be stitching on top of your sleeve. So now when you stitch, you will discover that the way you cut it, the first one is going to overlap on the second one, and the second one will overlap on the third one. So that is how it is supposed to look like. So now this is what it looks like. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch the first, second, and the third steps on my sleeve, and when we do that, we'll come back and show you. Now we've stitched down our sleeve, we're going to go ahead and align the sides now so that we can be able to close our sleeve. So what you need to do is just arrange it properly by the sides, ensure that they all align properly on the main sleeve, because you're going to be closing the sleeve. All right, so now I'm going to align the first, second, and the third steps correctly on our main sleeve so that we can go and stitch it down. So I recommend you to use your pins also to just hold them down so that they don't move around. All right, and now after holding them down on the main sleeve, you just go and stitch them down. After that, you turn it to the other side, you roll the sleeve over, and you're going to be closing the sleeve. So please ensure that each step matches each step, because at the end of the day, when you close this up and it doesn't match, it's going to look, it will not look good when you are done stitching. So make sure that they are properly aligned before closing off the sleeve. So now I've done that, and you can see what this looks like. Beautiful, right? So this is what the first, second, and the third step is all looking like. You can see that they are overlapping each other. Very beautiful. Now this is what our sleeve looks like. You can now go ahead and attach it to your main fabric. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're going to be recreating this, please let me know in the comment section, and please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, and please don't forget to hit the like button, and let's grow this channel together. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.